Alrighty. So let's talk about Netanyahu. I was trying to be clever. Sorry. So there's this Israeli opposition, these opposition parties strike a coalition deal. And they're trying to push Netanyahu out. They've tried 4 different elections. And I have heard this, but yeah. So let's see here. I skipped down a little bit here. So in a statement, Lapid, this Yesh Atid, which was let me see here. Okay. Let's see here. So Yetish Atid, centrist political party in Israel formed by Yair Lapid, seeks to represent what it considers the center of Israeli society, the secular middle class, civic, socioeconomic, and governance issues, including government reform and ending military draft exemptions for the ultra-Orthodox. Okay. And that's something, I'm going to be talking about quite a bit when I debate superpower broadcasting. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that does need to be talked about. So, it's a centrist party. Right now in the Knesset, it has 17 of 120 seats. So basically, these are just, he would not join Kadima. What's Kadima? It's a centrist and liberal political party, or the Israeli Labor Party. Okay. But let's talk more about this coalition. So this is from CNN, but let's talk about this here. I know very little about this subject. There are plenty of holes in my, of my ranting. So let's try to put some lipstick on this pig, shall we? In the sense of trying to make ourselves look a little bit better, even though I'm not. Anywho, let's see here. The government will work to serve all the citizens of Israel, including those who aren't members of it, will respect those who oppose it, and do everything in its power to unite all parts of Israeli society. If there are multiple parties in the U.S., this would be the case with the Democrats, I would imagine. But, anywho. Maybe. So, new government consists of a number of parties from across the political spectrum, from the left-wing Meretz to Bennett's right-wing Yamina party. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Yamina party right quick here. Let me read about the Yamina party. Yamina or Yemina, which is rightwards, political alliance of right-wing parties that was originally configured as the New Right and the Union of Right-Wing Parties, a union of the Jewish Home and Tekuma. Current incarnation of the alliance includes only the New Right. Okay. Yeah, Sarah Netanyahu, the wife of the prime minister, was recorded speaking with Rafi Peretz's wife, Michal Peretz, in an attempt to convince Peretz to retain his number 1 slot on the list. She was unsuccessful. It also revealed that Benjamin Netanyahu was involved despite his denial. So this was started by, Naftali Bennett. So Naftali Bennett, born 25 March 1972, Minister of Diaspora Affairs. Like I say, a lot I don't know about Israel. A lot of things I don't know. And if you're going to be, somewhat left-wing, even people like me, you have to understand what the deal is with Israel. American Jewish immigrants. So he was born in Haifa. Came from American Jewish immigrants who moved to Israel from San Francisco in 1967, a month after the Six-Day War. His father's Jewish roots came from Poland, Germany, and the Netherlands, and relocated as seniors, settling on Vitkin Street in Haifa. Okay. Let's see here. Bennett was 4. The family moved to Montreal for 2 years as part of his father's job. Bennett began attending Carmel Elementary School, where he was in the 2nd grade. The family moved. Okay, don't worry. This is not going to be just me reading. Don't worry. Drafted into the IDF in 1990, Bennett moved to the Upper East Side of Manhattan to build a career as a software entrepreneur. He founded Cyota, an anti-fraud software company, served as CEO, sold the company in 2005, RSA Security, $145 million, making Bennett a multimillionaire. A stipulation of the deal allowed the Israeli arm of Cyota to remain intact. Not surprising. As a result, 400 Israelis are employed at the company's Israeli offices in Beersheba and Herzliya. I imagine that comes from Theodore Herzl. I imagine Herzliya. Golly, everything's named after him, huh? Bennett has also served as CEO of Soluto, a technology company providing cloud-based service. Okay. Good info, though. United Right. Let's see here. Political positions. Let's see here. Israel Stability Initiative is based in part on parts of earlier initiatives, statements of Netanyahu and Likud in favor of unilateral annexation of the West Bank. Bennett opposes the creation of a Palestinian state. I will do everything in my power to make sure they never get a state. Yeah. He suggests a tripartition of the Palestinian territories whereby Israel would unilaterally annex Area C. Authority over the Gaza Strip would be transferred to Egypt and because Gaza Strip does belong to Egypt. That's something that does need to be said. Even during the War of Independence, quote unquote, in Israel, Abdel Nasser was in charge of forces in Palestine. So yeah, I don't know how that would look, but yeah, I will do everything in my power to make sure they never get a state. Well, there you go. Oh, sorry, I read that already. But yeah, Area A. I'm just someone's gonna clip me doing that one day. Oh boy. Tripartition of the Palestinian territories. Area C. Oh, this Oslo II Accord under the Gaza Strip would be transferred to Egypt. Areas A and B would reign with the Palestinian National Authority, but the security umbrella of the Israel Defense and Shin Bet, or the better known acronym Shabak or Shin Bet, is Israel's international security service. Its motto is Magan Velo Yaleh. I'm really not trying to be funny. Okay. Let's see here. There's a lot about this guy, man. His wife Gilat, professional pastry chef. She was secular, but now observes the Jewish Sabbath with religious Jewish kosher laws regarding food. The couple have 4 children and live in Ra'anana. Sorry, I'm not trying to be, Like his brothers, Bennett adheres to modern Orthodox Judaism. So yeah, this is a very, Okay, so this is the leader of that Yamana party. Okay. And he will talk about Bennett later on at the end here. But yeah, in a historic event, the small Islamist party United Arab List. What's this United Arab List party? Okay. So this is Hebrew Ra'am, or Thunder, is an Arab political party in Israel, political wing of the southern branch of the Islamic movement. Islamist movement that advocates for Islam in Israel, particularly among Arabs and Circassians. 4 seats in the Knesset right now. Okay. Yeah, so supports a 2-state solution. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting way off track. This is going to be a long video. Sorry, folks. Bennett, son of American immigrants, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so he has been more moderate when it comes to social issues such as LGBTQ rights. Bennett once led a West Bank settler organization. Okay. Prevent a 5th round of elections and to pull Israel out of its tailspin. Sit in a coalition with parties on the opposite end of the political spectrum in order to prevent a 5th round of elections and to pull Israel out of its tailspin. Okay. The president then tasked Lapid with forming a government, the talks appeared to fall apart 2 days into the latest conflict with Hamas-led militants. In Gaza last week, when Bennett announced that he was suspending negotiations due to the violence. Don't worry, we're skipping down. Netanyahu blasted Bennett on Sunday for committing what he called the fraud of the century. Yeah, oh boy. That means there's still time for Netanyahu and his allies to convince people to defect from the bloc or somehow tie things up procedurally in parliament. A collapse of the ceasefire with the Hamas-led militants in Gaza or another outside event could topple the burgeoning new government. In the meantime, Netanyahu remains prime minister until someone else is sworn in. Beyond losing his role as leader of Israel's government, Netanyahu faces perhaps even greater threat, an ongoing trial of charges of bribery fraud, much like the same way that Donald Trump has been accused. But so far, Donald Trump is holding out as long as he can, right? Blasted Bennett, yeah. But yeah. So that's where things are right now with Israel. We see that Israel is kind of in an internal struggle for who is going to control the who's going to control the country. Likud, it appears, is not the Tekuma, which was rebranded as a religious Zionist party. Oh, wow. Let me see here. What's this religious Zionist party? National Union Tekuma is a religious Zionist political party. Almost immediately after the creation of Tekuma, it joined together with Moledet and Herut. I've heard of Herut. Minor right-wing party. Okay, so I have heard of Herut. Minorly, yeah. Was included in Ariel Sharon's coalition alongside Likud. Shinui was a Zionist, secular, and anti-clerical free market liberal party. Oh, boy. And Yisrael. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Yisrael. I'm going to learn Hebrew one of these days, probably. That's what happens. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. Don't worry. But yeah. So Noam, here we go. Noam Chomsky. Noam is a far-right Orthodox Jewish political party. Okay, yeah. Oh, wow. Composition, ideology. Opposed to any territorial concessions, some members support the annexation of the entire West Bank, though the official policy of the Jewish Home parliamentary faction, of which the party is opposed to recognition of same-sex couples on a religious basis. Here we go. So we have a member here, Otzma Yehudit. Otzma Yehudit is one of the far-right political parties, which has been referred to as Kahanist and anti-Arab. Yes. Let's see what we got here. So we have the leaders here. Its newest leader is Bezalel Smotrich. Smotrich is an Israeli lawyer and politician, religious Zionist party. Previously served as a Knesset member for Yamana. Well, there you go. So this Noam, that's ironic, like Noam Chomsky, yeah. Officially known as Lazuz, far-right Orthodox Jewish political party in Israel, in July 2019 by a very conservative faction in the religious Zionist community, inspired by Rabbi Zvi Tal, religious Zionist rabbi and a disciple of Rabbi Zvi Yehuda Kook, and his Har Hamor Yeshiva. And they only hold one seat in the Knesset, so yeah. Let's see here. The party released a homophobic video under the comment, an entire country is going through conversion therapy. The time has come to stop it. In the video, a mother, father, and son go to vote on Election Day in September, where the family is bombarded with LGBT and reform imagery. Once they reach the voting booth, the mother writes on her voting slip, "Let my son marry a woman," while the father writes, "Let my grandson be Jewish." Oh, Lord have mercy. removed by YouTube. Oh, man. Oh, boy. That's rich. So it sounds like they're trying to be a little less cringe than Meyer Kahana, but they just, yeah. Oh, man. Mask off. They couldn't, yeah. Haredi, yeah. German Orthodox Rabbi Zvi Hirsch Kalischer, his tractate Delishat Zion, positing that the salvation of Jews promised by the prophets can come about only by self-help. Religious Zionism, oh boy, yeah, became the Ashkenazi chief rabbi of Palestine. Isaac Kook. That Eretz Yisrael was promised to the ancient Israelites by God. Furthermore, modern Jews have the obligation to possess and defend the land in ways that comport with the Torah's high standards of justice. To generations of diaspora Jews, Jerusalem has been the symbol of the Holy Land and of their return to it, as promised by God in numerous biblical prophecies. Shlomo Avinieri, Israeli political scientist, explained the last part of Kook's answer and the end of those pioneers who scout into the blindness of secularism and atheism, but the treasured light inside them leads them into the path of salvation. Their end is that from doing mitzvah without purpose, they will do mitzvah with a purpose. That's like one of those riddles here. So you had labor Zionists, and you had Kahanism, of course, is in this branch as well. We're reading about religious Zionism here. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Wow, there's so much here. I'm digging through here. I feel like I'm... Yeah, so nationality. Okay, so yeah, so this is Aliyat, sovereignty, determination against terror, Aliyah, implementation of a national Aliyah policy, which will promote Jewish immigration and remove unnecessary barriers to immigration for, their folks, Competition and liberty. We will promote competition to break up monopolies and cartels. Right to work. Oh, boy. Governability. Social responsibility. Galilee and Negev. We will strengthen the Galilee and the Negev with additional employment opportunities, housing, healthcare, tourism, culture, and transport. We will encourage capital investment and private initiatives that will strengthen human capital and allow families. Oh, wow. It's just typical Feihua. But they sound a little bit more positive. They're not as cringe. Yeah, they can cover it up pretty well. Yeah. And it was drafted into the idea. Oh, sorry, I read that already. Yeah. Fascinating stuff here. Fascinating stuff. But the real thing is Netanyahu going to get trumped? And I have a feeling he probably won't. Like I say, if you look through the history of Israeli PMs, unfortunately, the Israeli prime minister in general in terms of posts is much more paid attention to than the president. You know, people would rather talk about David Ben-Gurion all the time and yet ignore Chaim Weizmann, the first president of Israel. When Chaim Weizmann was a fairly influential guy, but in general, the PM is seen as the head of Israel in many ways, and it's the public face. And it's kind of weird. But anywho, I think that Netanyahu, unfortunately, will get away with his crimes because I think that, much the same way as, like I say, Ariel Sharon was killed, but, people like Menachem Begin, even though he was the leader of Irgun, who bombed the King David Hotel, and, Benjamin Netanyahu proceeded to, honor the building with a plaque that basically was saying, well, let me see here. King David Hotel bombing. I know I have it on here. Let's see. I know that there's something about, okay, here we go. King David Hotel bombing. 91 were dead, 46 were injured. Let's see here. Reactions, a legend, legacy of that. Okay. Legacy of Operation Shark. Let's see here. Practice of Terrorism. Security analyst Bruce Hoffman wrote of the bombing in his book Inside Terrorism that unlike many terrorist groups today, the Irgun strategy was not deliberately to target or wantonly harm civilians. At the same time, though, the claim of Begin, and other apologists that warnings were issued cannot absolve either group, either the group or its commander, of 91 people killed and 45 others injured. Indeed, whatever non-lethal intentions the Irgun might or might not have had, the fact remains that a tragedy of almost unparalleled magnitude was inflicted, so that to this day the bombing remains one of the single most lethal terrorist incidents of the 20th century. Army and police reports, various British government papers related to the bombing were released under the 30-year rule, including in 1978 under the report contains statements and conclusions which are contradicted by other evidence, including that submitted by the inquest held after the bombing. The police report makes the claim that the warning sent to the French consulate was received 5 minutes after the main explosion. This is contradicted by multiple eyewitnesses who reported seeing staff opening the consulate windows 5 minutes before it. So yeah, here we go to the 60th anniversary controversy. The Menachem Begin Heritage Center organized a conference to mark the 60th anniversary of the bombing. The conference was attended by past and future Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former members of Irgun. A plaque commemorating the bombing was unveiled, stating for reasons unknown only to the British, the hotel was not evacuated. Oof. British ambassador in Tel Aviv and the consul general in Jerusalem protested, saying, "We do not think that it is right for an act of terrorism, which led to the loss of many lives, to be commemorated," and wrote to the mayor of Jerusalem saying that such an act of terror could not be honored even if it was preceded by a warning. To prevent a diplomatic incident and over the objections of Knesset members Reuven Rivlin. I need to learn more about this. This is the president of Israel, Reuven Rivlin. Sorry. The Palestine Post and French consulate urging the hotel's occupants to leave immediately. The hotel was not evacuated, and after 25 minutes, the bombs exploded. Okay, so here, this is what it says. The final English version says, warning phone calls have been made to the hotel, Palestine Post, and French consulate, urging the hotel's occupants to leave immediately. The hotel was not evacuated, and after 25 minutes, the bombs exploded because there were 7 bombs in milk churns, to leave immediately. To the Irgun's regret, 92 persons were killed. The death toll given includes Abramovitz, the Irgun member who was shot during the attack and died later from his wounds, but only the Hebrew version of the sign makes that clear. The Hebrew version of the words meaning including an Irgun man was killed in a shootout which happened there at the end, which are not found in the English version. So like I say, there were so many other events that occurred right then, but I think that people like Netanyahu are going to get off. I think Netanyahu's probably going to cut a deal somehow, some way, and it's going to, this coalition, I imagine, is going to be smart enough, and they're going to continue on. Like I say, there's a lot of issues that could occur, but I really don't think, even according to Yamina, the Yamina party, where they want to give part of the West Bank, or excuse me, not the West Bank, the Gaza Strip back to Egypt. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to occur, but you know what? This has been a long video. I think overall, Israel is basically having some internal as usual, and another couple of flare-ups will occur, and the same arguments will occur, and nothing will happen. So yeah, ultimately that's what I feel is going to occur. You can agree with me, not agree with me, Whichever. I hope y'all enjoy this long, drawn-out video, but there's a lot of information. I felt like, whoa, I went down the rabbit hole. This could have been like an hour long, but yeah, I felt like that's too much. So, anywho, I think that's all I have to say, and see you later, and a goodbye.